has ever managed to stifle you? We look at you, there's a plethora of books out there, The Rise and Fall of Palestine, The Holocaust Industry, Beyond Chutzpah. You're living proof that the debate hasn't been stifled at all, aren't you?
I have never been on television in the United States.
But you're not tucked away in some dusty room, unable to speak, are you?
My name is Norman Finkelstein. I was born December 8th, 1953. I grew up in Borough Park. Right now, as you're filming, we're in Ocean Parkway near Coney Island. My life as a Jewish person, my life as an American, every facet was out of step. And by the time I became a young adult, I was pretty certain what I was going to do in my life. My first involvement publicly and politically with the Israel-Palestine conflict was the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in June 1982. I can't say I was looking for a cause, but I certainly was ready if a cause came along to jump in. No, it could not have been avoided. There is no way that the United States and Israel are going to tolerate any resistance in the Arab world. You want to pretend it can be avoided, you can play that game. But serious people, clear-headed people, knew there was going to be a war sooner or later. I don't care about Hezbollah as a political organization. And anyhow, it's irrelevant. I don't live in Lebanon. It's a choice that the Lebanese have to make who they want to represent them. But there is a fundamental principle. People have the right to defend their country from foreign occupiers. My parents went through World War II. Now, Stalin's regime was not exactly a bed of roses. It was a ruthless and it was a brutal regime. But who didn't support the Soviet Union when they defeated the Nazis? Who gets all the honors? The resistance. My parents were survivors of Nazi concentration camps. I can't say ours was a happy household. There was no topic that we would discuss, anything. It goes right back to the war. Everything went right back to the war.
Today, a debate. We're going to begin with Professor Alan Dershowitz. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you very much for having me. Israel is the only country in modern history that has never deliberately and explicitly retaliated against those who attack its civilian targets.
Norman Finkelstein, your response.
Human Rights Watch copiously documents multiple cases of willful killings by Israel. Okay. What did Mr. Dershowitz write? There's right. not a single case of the whole world is lying. Only Joan Peters tells the truth.
First, Norman documented that Dershowitz's writings were full of factual inaccuracies which all leaned in one direction for the Israeli policies and against the Palestinians.
My basic values were set from a young age, and they came from my family. You know, the equality of humankind, war is wrong, and so forth. In my home, it was not lip service. I mean, my mother reacted to war, not like, oh, it's wrong, a Sunday morning sermon. No. She reacted in almost a hysterical rage. Basically what you've had is this stalemate between, on the one hand, the international community calling for a two-state settlement of the Israel-Palestine conflict, and Israel, backed crucially by the United States, calling for an apartheid-like settlement of the West Bank and Gaza. If I'm being invited as the Jew who's going to denounce Jews, no, I don't like that at all. If I'm being invited because they think my point of view is important and it's being repressed, you know, that's a good enough reason. Can you name a single Israeli government official, political party, which has ever recognized a Palestinian state within its internationally legal borders? Namely, you know what the Jewish attitude is? Never to forgive, never to forget. And I agree with that. Why roll out the red carpet less than 2 years after your whole country was destroyed by them? I'd be happy to address the issue of Palestinian terrorism so long as you have no fear calling the leader of the State of Israel one of the main terrorists in the world today.
For me, the Jews from the left, who only see evil in Israel, are probably representing a problem within themselves. They are struggling with their identity, they're struggling with their Judaism, they're struggling with their heritage.
Every victory of Hezbollah over the Vandals and the Marauders is also a victory for liberty and a victory for freedom.
That was Dr. Finkelstein. He's a professor at DePaul University who might get his tenure on Tuesday if the university allows it.
You're still teaching at DePaul University.
As of this minute, I do not
It's not
have
that precarious,
I
is
do
it?
not have a tenure job.
Well, sir, I've got to start off by asking where things stand on your tenure battle at DePaul University. Have you become too hot for American academia to handle?
Stop the witch hunt! Tenure now! We will resist! We won't back down!
Today we have reached a resolution of our dispute with Professor Finkelstein. As a part of that resolution, he has agreed to resign effective immediately.
Norman Finkelstein is a 52-year-old itinerant assistant professor. He was fired from several colleges. Many people think he is sick.
I think Dershowitz would do anything he possibly could to prevent him from getting a position for a very simple reason. If he gets a position, pretty soon people start reading what he said. And what he said about Dershowitz, and what he said about Israel. And not what he said, what he showed. Telling the truth is controversial. People don't like to hear it.
Last night, I spent several unpleasant hours reading and rereading the paper presented by Dr. Finkelstein. And I found it disturbing. The paper is suffused with personal hatred. And I strongly hope that when the proceedings of this conference are printed, that such parts of this paper will not be included in them.
Now may I invite Dr. Finkelstein to speak.
We have an expression in English. The truth is often a bitter pill to swallow. This is not Oprah. We are adults. We are supposed to be seriously examining history.
If you compared Norman's anger to the scale of the injustice, I'd say, and he would say he's not angry enough because no person can be. The injustice is just that huge.
In particular, he feels very passionately about the Holocaust. His parents are both survivors of extermination camps, and he was deeply involved in their lives and their tragedies and so on. And when you see somebody exploiting it, demeaning the memory of the victims for personal gain, he didn't like it. I can understand that.
My late mother did not like what I had become. She was afraid. And she was very guilty. She felt I was Frankenstein's monster, in this case Finkelstein's monster. I had taken her too literally, taken it too much to heart, and she felt I was destroying myself.